All right, everyone, buckle up, because today we are diving deep into the world of climate science.
Ooh, climate science. Exciting.
Well, it is, but there's a twist.
A twist. Okay. I like twists.
Yeah, so instead of, like just the facts and figures and all that,
Right, right.
we're going to be talking about the scientists themselves.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah, like what is their role in all of this climate change stuff?
Mm.
Should they just be, totally neutral like Mr. Spock?
Live long and prosper.
Exactly. Or, should they be out there like marching in protests and
Like real advocates.
yeah,
Yeah.
advocates, trying to get people to take action?
I mean, that's a big question, isn't it?
It is a big question, and it really like gets to the heart of how we understand and trust all this climate information.
Yeah. Makes you wonder who to believe.
Exactly. So to help us unpack all of this, we've got a super interesting article.
Okay. Let's hear it.
Yeah, that kind of lays out both sides of this whole scientist as advocate debate.
Sounds like a good read.
It is.
Yeah.
And we've also got, for another perspective, a real-world example
Oh, cool.
of a community environmental action group.
So we can see like the action on the ground.
Exactly. Yeah, so let's jump right in.
Let's do it.
So this article, right off the bat, it talks about how,
This tension.
yeah, there's this like growing tension within the scientific community itself.
Yeah, I can see that.
It's like, on one hand, right, you've got a lot of climate scientists
Sure.
who are seeing just how urgent this whole climate change thing is.
Right.
And they feel like they've got to do something, they've got to like push for action.
Yeah, they're seeing the data every day. It's going to be alarming.
Exactly. But then on the other hand, you've got these other scientists who are worried that if they become, like active
Advocates.
yeah,
Right.
if they start advocating too much, that it could actually like hurt their credibility.
Drop their credibility house.
Well, like people might start to see them as less objective.
Right, like they have a dog in the fight.
Exactly. Yeah, like they're not just reporting the facts anymore. They're trying to push an agenda.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And that could be a really big deal, especially in academia,
Oh, yeah, for sure.
where like objectivity is, like the holy grail.
You got to be impartial to get that sweet, sweet tenure.
Totally. And this whole debate, it's not just happening in some ivory tower.
Oh, no.
It's like out in the real world, too.
So how does it play out there?
Well, you know how there are people who are skeptical of climate change?
The climate skeptics, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So they'll often point to this debate as like proof that climate science is biased.
Interesting. So they use this to discredit the whole field.
Yeah, pretty much they'll say something like, oh, those scientists, they're all just a bunch of activists with an agenda.
A convenient way to dismiss the science they don't like.
Exactly. And what's even more interesting?
What's that?
The article also presents like a counter argument.
Oh, there's a counter argument. Tell me more.
Yeah, so some people argue that staying completely neutral,
Like totally objective.
yeah, it might not even be possible.
Really impossible. How so?
Well, think about it, like scientists are human too, right?
They have to eat and sleep and, have opinions.
Exactly. They have their own values and beliefs.
Yeah.
And those things inevitably influence,
The way they do their work.
yeah, like what they choose to research, how they interpret their data, even how they talk about their findings.
So it's not just about like the pure data.
Right. It's like it's all wrapped up in this context of human values.
I see. So like choosing a research topic is kind of like choosing what to eat.
Uh-huh. I like that analogy. Yeah,
If you like spicy food, you're going to order the spicy dish.
exactly. And if a scientist is really concerned about climate change, they might be more likely to study, the worst case scenarios.
Makes sense.
So it's not that the data is wrong.
Yeah.
It's just that the way it's presented and interpreted.
Is shaped by human choices.
Yeah. And that leads us to another really important piece of this puzzle.
Hit me with it.
Public perception.
Ah, yes. The court of public opinion.
Because, if people don't trust scientists,
Then it doesn't really matter what the science says.
exactly, like all the research in the world won't make a difference if people don't believe it.
So true. So how does public perception play into all this?
Well, the article says that research shows...
Research on research, very meta.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Well, it shows that people generally support scientists, participating in policy discussions and stuff.
So they're okay with scientists having a voice.
Yeah, but here's the catch. Their credibility can take a hit.
Oh, no.
Yeah, if their advocacy, like, clashes with people's values or political beliefs.
So if a scientist is seen as too partisan...
Exactly. People might start to question their motives.
Makes sense. We all have our biases.
Exactly. So it seems like scientists are walking this tightrope.
The tightrope of trust.
Yeah, they want to speak out about something they care about.
Climate change.
Right. But they also need to be careful not to alienate the public.
It's a tough balancing act.
And to show just how tricky this can be, the article highlights this one study.
Oh, study laid on me.
So they had this like fictional scientist, right?
Fictional, okay.
Yeah, and this scientist was advocating for nuclear power.
Nuclear power, that's a hot topic.
It is, and what they found was that this scientist was seen as less credible.
Just because they were advocating for nuclear power?
Yeah, even though they were presenting like factual information.
Wow, that's wild.
It is. It really shows you how just the act of advocating for something
Can affect how people see you.
Yeah. And that brings us to like the million-dollar question.
I'm ready for it.
How can scientists engage in advocacy?
You know, speak up about what they believe in.
Exactly, but also maintain their credibility.
Yeah, that's the key.
So the article talks about the importance of transparency.
Transparency. Okay.
So scientists need to be really clear
About what?
about what are the facts
Okay.
and what are their own personal opinions.
Right. Got to separate the science from the scientist's personal views.
Exactly. And this is something we should all be doing, really.
Yeah, not just scientists.
Like when we read news about climate change or any scientific topic.
We should be asking ourselves.
Yeah, what are the actual facts here?
What are the opinion?
Exactly.
Good advice.
So we've been talking a lot about scientists and advocacy.
Right, the big debate.
But let's shift gears for a minute and talk about action.
Okay, I like action.
Me too. So there's this really cool initiative called Planet Wild.
Planet Wild, I like the name.
Yeah, it's all about like community-led environmental conservation.
So regular people taking charge.
Exactly. And it's really inspiring to see how they're making a difference.
What kind of stuff do they do?
Well, the article mentions this project in Germany
Germany.
where they were working to protect owl populations.
Protecting owls. That's awesome.
It is, and it's a great example of how, people can take action without waiting for governments or big organizations to do something.
Right. Sometimes you got to just do it yourself.
Exactly. So after diving into all of this,
This complex web of science and advocacy.
yeah, where do you think this leaves us?
Well, I think it's pretty clear that there are no easy answers here.
Yeah, it's messy.
Yeah, this whole intersection of science and activism, especially when it comes to climate change.
It's like a tangled jungle out there.
It is, but I think the key takeaway is balance.
Balance, okay.
Yeah, scientists have a responsibility to share their knowledge,
Right.
but they also need to be aware of how their actions might be perceived by the public.
And it's up to all of us,
To engage with the science.
critically and thoughtfully.
Exactly.
So to all our listeners out there, I'm curious, what do you think?
Yeah, what are your thoughts?
How can scientists best contribute to tackling climate change while still maintaining public trust?
It's a tough question.
It is,
Yeah.
but it's one worth thinking about. And if you're looking for inspiration or ways to get involved yourself,
Check out Planet Wild.
yeah, Planet Wild or other community-based environmental initiatives in your area.
Great idea.
All right, everyone, thanks for joining us on this deep dive.
Until next time, stay curious.